Captain Jinwoo Park stood on the bridge of his ship, the UES Horizon. Through the large windows, he could see stars scattered across the dark space like tiny diamonds. His crew had been traveling for 3 months looking for new worlds that humans could live on. Earth was getting crowded and people needed new places to call home. "Captain, we're getting a signal," said Yuna Kim, his science officer. She was a smart woman who could speak 7 different languages. "It's coming from that big ship ahead of us." Jinwoo looked at the main screen. A massive alien ship appeared, almost 3 times bigger than the horizon. It looked like a giant metal fish with sharp edges and glowing lights along its sides. The ship was painted in dark red colors with strange symbols. "This is interesting," Jinwoo said calmly. "Our first contact with aliens. Yuna, try to talk to them. Minho, keep our weapons ready, but don't point them at anyone." Minho Lee, the ship's engineer, nodded from his station. He was young but very good with machines. His fingers moved quickly over the controls, making sure their ship was ready for anything. The alien ship sent a message. Strange sounds filled the bridge, like metal scraping against metal mixed with deep growling noises. Yuna worked on her computer, trying to understand what they were saying. "I think I got it, Captain," Yuna said after a few minutes. "They're called the Velthari. They want to know who we are and what we're doing here. Tell them we're humans from Earth. We're explorers looking for new places to live." "We come in peace," Jinwoo replied. Yuna sent the message. They waited. The alien ship moved closer and more ships appeared from behind a nearby planet. Soon there were 5 alien ships surrounding the horizon. The main screen flickered and suddenly they could see inside the alien ship. A creature appeared that looked like a giant lizard wearing metal clothes. It had yellow eyes, sharp teeth, and skin that looked like leather. When it spoke, its voice was deep and scary. "I am Commander Thexval of the Velthari Empire," the creature said. The translation made his voice sound robotic. "You have entered our space without permission. These 3 star systems belong to us." Jinwoo stepped forward. "Hello, Commander. I'm Captain Jinwoo Park. We didn't know this was your space. We're just exploring and looking for empty planets where our people can live." Thexval made a sound that might have been laughing, but it sounded mean. "Empty planets? These worlds are ours. You will leave now and never come back. Your small ship and soft-looking crew don't belong here. We understand you claim these systems," Jinwoo said politely, "but we've scanned the planets. No one lives on them. Maybe we can work together? We're good at building things and growing food." The alien commander's eyes became angry slits. "Work together? You think we would work with weak creatures like you? Look at yourselves. You have no claws, no thick skin, no natural weapons. You're just soft meat walking around in metal clothes." Yuna whispered to Jinwoo. "Captain, I'm reading their ship's power levels. They have weapons pointed at us." Jinwoo kept his voice calm. "Commander, we don't want to fight. But we won't be scared away either. These planets have no one living on them. In human law and in galactic law, that means they're free for anyone to use." "Galactic law?" Thexval roared. "We are the law here. You will leave now or we will destroy your pathetic little ship." "I'm sorry, but we can't do that," Jinwoo said firmly. "We have families on our ship. Children who need new homes. We won't hurt anyone, but we won't run away either." The alien commander stared at him for a long moment. "You dare to refuse us? You mammals. Think you can stand against the Velthari Empire? Fine. Leave this system in 1 hour or face the consequences." The screen went black. The alien ships moved away but stayed close enough to watch the horizon. "What do we do, Captain?" Minho asked. Jinwoo thought for a moment. "We continue our mission. Set course for the second planet. Our job is to find homes for our people. And that's what we're going to do." 3 days later, the horizon reached Kepler 442b, a beautiful planet with blue oceans and green land. The crew set up a small research station on the surface. 50 people worked there, including families with children. Dr. Sujin Choi ran the station. She was a kind woman who loved studying new plants and animals. The research station was peaceful. Children played in the fields while their parents worked. Scientists collected samples of soil and water. Engineers built houses that could protect people from storms. Everyone was happy to have found such a nice place, but the Velthari had not forgotten about the humans. Commander Thexval reported to his leader, Admiral Kexthul. "The humans ignored our warning. They built a colony on the second planet. What are your orders?" Admiral Kexthul was even bigger and scarier than Thexval. His office was decorated with weapons from different worlds he had conquered. "Humans," he said the word like it tasted bad. "I've heard about them. They come from a small, unimportant world.
They think they can just take what they want?
They said something about galactic law, Thexaval reported. Galactic law. The Admiral laughed. The law is simple. The strong take what they want and the weak obey or die. These soft creatures need to learn their place. Destroy their colony. Kill everyone. Leave no survivors. When other humans see what happens to those who disobey us, they'll run back to their little planet and never bother us again. All of them, sir? Even the younglings. All of them. Make it clear what happens when someone challenges the Velthari Empire. 2 days later, Velthari warships appeared in the sky above the research station. Dr. Sujin Choi was in the main building when the first explosion started. She ran to the emergency communication system as buildings burned around her. This is Dr. Sujin Choi at Kepler Station. She spoke into the microphone. Her voice was scared but clear. We're under attack. Alien ships are destroying everything. They're not accepting surrender. They're killing everyone they see. More explosions shook the building. She could hear people screaming outside. Tell Earth. Tell them what happened here. Tell them. They killed everyone. Even the children. The transmission ended. The research station was completely destroyed. 127 people died, including 38 children. The Velthari ships flew away, satisfied with their work. They thought they had taught humans an important lesson about who was really in charge. They had no idea what they had just started. Admiral Jaehyun Kang was eating breakfast when the emergency alarm started ringing through his flagship, the UES Retribution. He was a tall man with gray hair and serious eyes. He had been a soldier for 30 years and had seen many battles. But nothing had prepared him for the message that appeared on his screen. Sir, urgent transmission from Earth Command, said his assistant. Lieutenant Taeyeon Park. Jaehyun read the message twice. His face became very hard. Call all ship captains immediately. Emergency meeting in 20 minutes. The meeting room filled quickly with holographic images of ship captains from across human space. Captain Yoona Shin commanded a heavy cruiser. Captain Woo Sung Kim led a fast attack ship. Captain Minji Lee was in charge of a troop transport. All of them looked serious when they heard the news. The Velthari have murdered 127 of our people, Admiral Jaehyun said in a quiet, dangerous voice. They killed children. They killed scientists who were just trying to learn about plants. They killed families. The room was completely silent. Captain Yoona spoke first. What are your orders, Admiral? We're going to war, Jaehyun said simply. But this won't be like other wars. We're not fighting for territory or resources. We're fighting because someone killed our children. Every human fleet will join us. Every ship that can carry weapons will fight. Within 6 hours, something amazing happened. Ships started arriving from everywhere in human space. Military ships came first, but then came others. Cargo ships with weapons attached to their hulls. Mining ships with huge drilling lasers. Even luxury cruise ships arrived, carrying thousands of soldiers instead of tourists. The humans moved faster than anyone had ever seen a species move. It was like watching a sleeping giant wake up. Captain Hyejin Song commanded a small fast ship called the UES Shadow. Her job was special operations, sneaking into enemy territory and hitting important targets. She was chosen for the first strike against the Velthari. Remember, Admiral Jaehyun told her over the communication system, we want them to know who did this. We want them to know why. Hyejin and her crew traveled for 3 days to reach a Velthari supply depot. It was a huge space station where the aliens kept food, fuel, and weapons for their ships. The station had guards, but they weren't expecting any trouble. The Shadow appeared out of nowhere. Human stealth technology was better than anything the Velthari had seen. Before the aliens knew what was happening, the depot was destroyed. But Hyejin didn't just blow it up. She made sure the explosion created a pattern that could be seen from far away. The pattern looked like Earth's flag. When Velthari rescue ships arrived, they found something else. A message was written on a piece of metal in the alien language. This is for the children of Kepler 442b. The attack was perfect. No Velthari ships were harmed because they weren't there yet. Only the supply depot was destroyed. But it was a clear message. Humans could strike anywhere, anytime. Admiral Kexthal was furious when he heard about the attack. How did they even find our depot? How did they get past our security? These are supposed to be primitive creatures. His officers had no good answers. The humans had used technology that seemed impossible. Their ship had appeared on sensors for only 3 seconds, just long enough to destroy the depot and disappear. "Sir," said Commander Thexval, "maybe we should try to make peace with them. This attack shows they're more dangerous than we thought." "Peace?" Admiral Kexthul roared. "They destroyed our property. They dared to attack the Velthari Empire. No primitive species gets away with that. Send the 7th Fleet 200 ships. Find their homeworld and destroy it completely." But before the 7th Fleet could move, something unexpected happened. A single human ship appeared near the Velthari capital world. It was a small diplomatic vessel with no weapons. The ship requested permission to send a message to the Velthari government. When they agreed, a human appeared on every screen in the capital city. The human was a woman named Seokjin Yang. She was a diplomat, someone whose job was to talk to other governments. She looked calm and spoke in a clear, strong voice. "People of the Velthari Empire," she said, "my name is Seokjin Yang, and I speak for all humanity. 3 days ago, your military murdered 127 innocent humans, including 38 children. They were scientists and families looking for a new home. They offered no threat to anyone." The message continued. "We demand that you surrender the officers responsible for this massacre. We demand payment for the families who lost loved ones. You have 48 hours to respond. This is not a negotiation. This is not a request. This is a demand." Seokjin's face became very serious. "If you refuse, you will learn why we humans survived on a world full of predators. You will learn why we became the hunters instead of the hunted. Choose wisely." The message ended. Admiral Kexthul laughed when he heard it. "One small ship. One woman. They think they can threaten us." He turned to his officers. "Find that ship and destroy it. Then send the 7th Fleet to destroy every human world they can find." But when the Velthari tried to find the human diplomatic ship, it was already gone. It had delivered its message and disappeared like smoke. Admiral Kexthul gave his orders. "The 7th Fleet will teach these mammals their place. 200 ships against whatever pathetic force they can put together. When we're done, humans will be extinct." The 7th Fleet was the pride of the Velthari Empire. Each ship was huge and powerful. The fleet's commander was Admiral Vexthon, who had conquered 12 different species. He had never lost a battle. "How many human ships are we expecting to fight?" Admiral Vexthon asked his intelligence officer. "Our spies report maybe 30 ships, sir. They're gathering near the Vega system, probably their entire military force." Admiral Vexthon laughed. 30 ships against 200? This won't even be a battle. It will be an execution." The 7th Fleet moved toward Vega, confident and ready for an easy victory. The Velthari had no idea that they were about to walk into humanity's first demonstration of what real predators could do. As the fleet traveled through space, Admiral Vexthon sent messages to other alien species, telling them to watch the battle. "See what happens to species that challenge the Velthari Empire," he said. Many alien governments did watch, but they weren't going to see what Admiral Vexthon expected them to see. The human ships were waiting near Vega, just as the intelligence reports had said. 30 ships against 200. The Velthari approached slowly, wanting to enjoy their overwhelming victory. They had no idea that those 30 ships were just the beginning. Admiral Vexthon smiled as his 200 ships approached the human fleet. Through his ship's main screen, he could see 30 human vessels waiting near a large asteroid field. The human ships looked small and weak compared to his massive warships. "This is almost too easy," he told his officers. "Look at them. They're not even trying to run away." Commander Nayeon Jang stood on the bridge of her ship, the UES Wolfpack. She was young for a fleet commander, but she had studied every battle in human history. She understood something that the Velthari didn't. Humans had been fighting wars for thousands of years before they ever left Earth. "All ships. This is Commander Jang." She spoke into her headset. "Remember, we're not just fighting for ourselves. We're fighting for the children they murdered. Show them what humans do to creatures that hurt our pack." The Velthari fleet formed a line like armies used to do in old battles. It was the way they had always fought. Big ships with big guns shooting at each other until one side gave up. Admiral Vexthon gave the order to attack. That's when everything went wrong for the Velthari. The human ships didn't form a line. Instead, they split apart and moved in 3 dimensions. Up, down, left, right, forward, and backward all at the same time. It was like watching a school of fish scatter when a shark attacked, except these fish had teeth. "What are they doing?" Admiral Vexthon shouted. "Why aren't they fighting properly?" The answer came quickly. Human weapons weren't like Velthari weapons. The aliens used big, powerful guns that could destroy a ship with one hit, but they took time to aim and fired slowly. Human weapons were different. They were smaller but much faster, and they were smart. Every human missile could think for itself, changing direction to chase enemy ships. Every human laser could adjust its power to punch through different types of armor. But the most frightening thing was how the human ships worked. Together, Captain Sunho Kim commanded a light cruiser called the UES Hunter. When two Velthari ships tried to surround him, he didn't try to fight both at once. Instead, he sent a signal to his fellow humans. Immediately, 3 other human ships appeared from different directions. They didn't try to save Captain Kim's ship. Instead, they worked with him to destroy both enemy ships. One human ship would attract the enemy's attention while the others attacked from behind. It was like watching wolves hunt a buffalo. No single wolf could kill such a large animal, but a pack working together could bring down anything. "Sir," the Velthari sensor officer shouted to Admiral Vexthon, "their ships are sharing information instantly. When one human ship learns something, all their ships know it immediately." This was true and terrifying. Every time a Velthari ship fired its weapons, every human ship learned how those weapons worked. Every time a human weapon hit a Velthari shield, every human ship learned how to hit that shield better. The humans were learning and adapting faster than the Velthari could react. Captain Min Seo Lee commanded the UES Predator, a ship designed for electronic warfare. Her job was to confuse enemy sensors and communications. She discovered something interesting about Velthari shields. "All ships," she broadcast, "their shields pulse every 3.7 seconds. If we time our shots right, we can hit them when their shields are weakest." Within minutes, every human weapon was automatically timing its shots to hit during that weak moment. Velthari ships that had seemed impossible to damage started taking serious hits. Admiral Vexthon watched in horror as his fleet began to fall apart. "How is this possible? We outnumber them 6-1. The problem was that numbers didn't matter when the enemy fought like nothing you'd ever seen before. Human ships moved like they were alive. They would charge straight at a Velthari ship, making the aliens think they were going to ram them. At the last second, the human ship would spin away and fire all its weapons at close range. Other human ships would hide behind asteroids and jump out like predators waiting in tall grass. They would attack, destroy their target, and disappear before the other Velthari ships could respond. The most frightening tactic was when human ships would sacrifice themselves to save others. Captain Ji-hoon Park's ship was badly damaged and surrounded by 5 Velthari vessels. Instead of surrendering, he sent a message to his fleet. "Tell my family I did my duty." Then he flew his ship straight into the largest Velthari warship, destroying both vessels. But his sacrifice wasn't wasted. While the Velthari ships were focused on him, 3 other human ships attacked them from behind and destroyed all 5. "They're not fighting like individuals," Admiral Vexthon realized with growing panic. "They're fighting like one giant creature with many bodies." This was exactly right. Human ships shared information so quickly that they could coordinate attacks perfectly. When one human ship started an attack, others would know immediately and position themselves to help. As the battle continued, something even more frightening became clear. The human ships were getting better at fighting during the battle itself. Captain Yejin-o noticed that Velthari ships always turned left when they were damaged. She shared this information with the fleet. Immediately, every human ship started positioning itself to the left of damaged enemy ships, waiting for them to turn into their weapons. The Velthari had built their entire military strategy around the idea that they were bigger and stronger than their enemies. They had never fought an enemy that was smarter and more adaptable. After 3 hours of battle, Admiral Vexthon looked at his tactical display in disbelief. He had started with 200 ships. Now he had 47. The humans still had 25 ships, and they were fighting better than when the battle started. "Sir, we need to retreat," his tactical officer said. "We're losing too many ships." "Retreat?" Admiral Vexthon couldn't believe what he was hearing. The mighty 7th Fleet had never retreated from any battle, but the decision was made for him. A group of 6 human ships appeared around his flagship. They had been hunting him specifically. "Attention, Velthari flagship," came a message from the lead human ship. "This is Captain Donghyun Choi. Surrender now and we'll allow your surviving ships to leave." Admiral Vexthon was about to refuse when his ship shook from multiple weapon hits. The humans weren't waiting for an answer. His shields were failing and his weapons couldn't target the fast-moving human ships. All ships, retreat, he finally shouted. Emergency jump to hyperspace. Of his 200 ships, only 3 escaped. The rest were either destroyed or too damaged to fly. The human fleet regrouped near the asteroid field. They had won a complete victory against a force 6 times larger than their own. Taehyung Lim was a war correspondent who had been aboard one of the human ships, recording the battle for people back on Earth. He sent a message that was broadcast across known space. Today, the Velthari Empire learned something important about humans. We told them to surrender the murderers of our children. They chose war instead. Now they know why Earth's children never forgot that they evolved from hunters. We don't fight fair. We don't fight with honor. We fight to win, and we fight to protect our own. The message was received by dozens of alien species across the galaxy. They had all been watching, expecting to see the destruction of humanity. Instead, they had witnessed the birth of a new galactic power, a species that fought unlike anything they had ever seen. In the wreckage of the 7th Fleet, automated beacons sent their final messages back to Velthari space. The messages all said the same thing. The humans are not what we thought. They are the hunters now. News of the 7th Fleet's destruction spread across the galaxy like wildfire. In the great council chambers of the Zephyrian Trade Alliance, Ambassador Kolvex watched the battle recordings for the 5th time. His blue tentacled face showed deep concern. This changes everything, he told his council. The humans didn't just win. They made it look easy. On the crystalline world of Xerion, the hive mind of Arcturus processed the battle data through its collective consciousness. Millions of insect-like beings shared their thoughts as one. These humans fight like us, but they are not us. Each one thinks alone, yet they move as one mind. This is impossible, yet we have seen it. The mechanical beings of the Republic of Steel computed the battle statistics with cold precision. Probability of Velthari victory, 94.7%. Actual result, complete Velthari defeat. Human tactical efficiency, beyond current mathematical models. Threat assessment, critical. In human space, Captain Yun B.O. prepared for the most important diplomatic mission in human history. Her ship, the UES Messenger, was loaded not with weapons but with gifts and trade agreements. Her job was to visit every major alien government and explain humanity's position. Her first stop was the Zephyrian Trade Alliance. The Zephyrians were peaceful merchants who controlled many important trade routes. If humans could make friends with them, it would make fighting the Velthari much easier. Honored Ambassador Kolvex, Captain Yunbi said, as her hologram appeared in the alien council chamber, we come offering friendship and mutual benefit. The Zephyrian leader's tentacles moved nervously. We have seen what your species does to enemies. Why should we believe you want friendship? Captain Yunbi's voice was calm and honest. Because we have never attacked anyone who didn't attack us first. The Velthari murdered our children. We are defending ourselves, but we have no quarrel with species who respect life and peace. She gestured, and a holographic display showed human technology. We offer to share our medical advances, our agricultural techniques, and our manufacturing processes. In return, we ask only for neutrality and the right to use your trade routes. The Zephyrians were impressed. Human medicine was far more advanced than their own. Human farming techniques could feed billions more people. Human manufacturing could make their products cheaper and better. What guarantee do we have that you won't attack us later? Ambassador Kolvex asked. Look at our history, Captain Yunbi replied. Humans have had hundreds of different nations on our world. Some were enemies, some were friends. But we learned that trade and cooperation make everyone stronger than war and conquest. The Zephyrian Council voted. They chose neutrality and trade agreements with humanity. Meanwhile, General Hyun Woo-shin was planning something that would terrify the Velthari Empire. He called it Operation Shepherd, named after the ancient human practice of herding animals. We're not going to fight their fleets, he explained to his officers. We're going to make their fleets useless. 12 different human task forces launched simultaneously. Each one targeted a different Velthari system. But they didn't attack military bases or fight enemy ships. Instead, they destroyed something much more important. The infrastructure that kept the Velthari Empire working. Captain Ji-won Song led the attack on the Velthari communication network. Her ships destroyed relay stations and satellite arrays. Suddenly, Velthari commanders couldn't talk to each other across different star systems. Captain Youngman Kim targeted supply convoys. His fast attack ships appeared from nowhere, destroyed cargo vessels carrying food and fuel, and disappeared before enemy warships could respond. Captain Su Young Park's job was even more important. She attacked the shipyards where Velthari vessels were built and repaired. Without these facilities, damaged enemy ships couldn't be fixed and new ships couldn't be built. The strategy was brilliant and cruel. The humans weren't just fighting the Velthari military. They were strangling the entire Velthari civilization. Admiral Kexthul watched his empire fall apart. How are they doing this? How are they everywhere at once? His intelligence officer had terrible news. Sir, they're not using large fleets. They're using small, fast groups that hit us and run away. We can't predict where they'll strike next because they're striking everywhere. Dr. Cheung Bae was aboard the human research vessel UES Darwin, studying captured Velthari technology. What she discovered was both exciting and frightening. Admiral Jaehyun, she reported via secure communication, we're not just beating them, we're evolving faster than they can adapt to us. She showed him her research. Every piece of Velthari technology we capture, we study, improve, and integrate into our own systems. Their weapons are more powerful than ours, but our weapons are smarter. Their ships are bigger, but our ships are faster and more maneuverable. The most shocking discovery was about Velthari computer systems. Their artificial intelligence is hundreds of years behind ours, Dr. Cheung explained. They never developed truly smart computers because they were afraid their machines might rebel against them. This fear had made the Velthari weak. While they built bigger and bigger ships with more and more weapons, humans had built ships that could think and adapt during battle. Sir, Dr. Cheung continued, I estimate that our technology is now 50 years ahead of theirs, and the gap is growing wider every day. As the war continued, other alien species watched in amazement. The humans were not acting like typical conquerors. When they captured Velthari colonies, they protected the civilian population. When they took over supply depots, they left food and medicine for non-military personnel. The Crystalline Collective sent an observer to a recently captured Velthari world. What they found surprised them. Human soldiers were helping Velthari civilians repair their homes. Human doctors were treating wounded aliens. Human engineers were fixing power plants and water systems. Why do you help them? The Crystalline Observer asked Captain Ji-Hoon Yoon, who was in charge of the occupation. These are your enemies. Captain Ji-Hoon looked confused by the question. These are not our enemies. These are just people who happen to live in Velthari space. Our enemies are the ones who murdered our children. These civilians didn't do anything wrong. This attitude spread across the galaxy. Species that had been afraid of humanity began to realize that humans only fought against those who threatened them. Everyone else was treated with respect and kindness. The Velthari government became desperate. Admiral Kexthul sent messages to every alien government begging for help. The humans are a threat to all of us. He claimed, today they fight us, but tomorrow they will conquer you. Help us stop them before it's too late. But the other species had been watching. They had seen how humans treated their allies and their prisoners. They had seen human technology that could help solve problems like hunger, disease, and poverty. The response from the Galactic Council was unanimous. The Velthari Empire started this war by murdering innocent humans. The humans are defending themselves. We will not interfere. Some species went further. The peaceful Republic of Andromeda offered to provide food and medical supplies to human forces. The Mining Guild of Kepler agreed to sell raw materials to human shipyards at reduced prices. Humanity was not just winning the war. They were winning friends. Admiral Kexthul realized that his empire was doomed. The humans had cut off his communications, destroyed his supply lines, and turned the galaxy against him. His once mighty empire was reduced to just 3 heavily defended core systems. In his private chambers, he recorded a final message to future generations of Velthari. We made a terrible mistake. We thought the humans were weak because they looked soft. We thought they were primitive because they came from one small world. We were wrong about everything. They are not conquerors. They are protectors. And we killed the ones they were protecting. The message would never be sent. The next day, human ships appeared at the edge of his home system, ready for the final battle of the war. Fleet Admiral Dongmin Ko stood on the bridge of the UES Vengeance, looking at the Velthari homeworld through the main screen. Around him, 500 human ships waited for his orders. All ships, he announced. This is for the children of Kepler 442b. This is for every innocent life the Velthari took. End this war. The Velthari homeworld of Veltar was the most beautiful planet in their empire. It had purple oceans under 3 different colored suns, and cities that rose like crystal mountains from emerald forests. For 1,000 years it had been the center of their power, protected by the strongest defenses they could build. Now, 500 human ships surrounded it like a pack of wolves circling wounded prey. Fleet Admiral Dongmin Ko studied the planet's defenses through his ship's sensors, massive orbital weapons platforms, energy shields that could stop asteroids, thousands of fighter ships ready to launch from hidden bases. Admiral, reported Captain Sunwoo Lee from the tactical station, their defenses are impressive. It could take weeks to break through and we'd lose many ships. Admiral Dongmin nodded thoughtfully. Contact the planet. I want to speak to whoever is in charge. A few minutes later, Admiral Kexthul appeared on the main screen. The proud Velthari leader looked older and more tired than before. His yellow eyes showed fear for the first time in his life. So the humans have come to finish what they started, Admiral Kexthul said bitterly. Actually, Admiral Dongmin replied calmly, we came to finish what you started when you murdered our children. But we're not here to destroy your world. We're here to offer you one last chance. Admiral Kexthul laughed, but it sounded hollow. A chance? You surround my homeworld with 500 ships and offer me a chance? Surrender now and your people live, Admiral Dongmin said simply. Your military leaders will be tried for war crimes, but your civilians will be protected. Your species will survive. That's more mercy than you showed our children. And if I refuse? Admiral Dongmin's face became hard as stone. Then we'll do what we should have done the moment you attacked Kepler Station. We'll show you what happens when you threaten human children. Admiral Kexthul cut the communication. For an hour there was silence. Then the Velthari orbital defenses opened fire. What happened next would be studied by military schools across the galaxy for centuries. The human fleet didn't charge forward like traditional attackers. Instead, they split into dozens of small groups and attacked from every direction at once. Some groups targeted the orbital platforms. Others launched attacks on the planet's surface military bases. Still others fought the enemy fighter ships. But the most devastating attack came from Captain Narration's Special Operations Group. They had spent months studying Velthari defense systems. They knew exactly where the planet's shield generators were located. While the main battle raged in space, Captain Nari's ship slipped through the chaos and destroyed the shield generators with surgical precision. Suddenly, the planet was defenseless. Admiral Kexthul watched in horror as his defenses crumbled. How did they know exactly where to strike? How did they coordinate so many attacks at once? The answer was the same as always. Humans fought smarter, not just harder. Within 6 hours, the battle was over. Every Velthari orbital platform was destroyed or captured. Every military base on the planet was in human hands. The proud Velthari military had been completely defeated. But then something happened that shocked every alien observer. The human ships stopped shooting. Admiral, Dongmin sent another message to the planet. Admiral Kexthul, your military is defeated. Order your remaining forces to surrender, and no more blood will be shed. In the ruins of his command center, Admiral Kexthul looked at his remaining officers. They were beaten and everyone knew it. What will happen to our people? He asked. Our civilians will be protected, Admiral Dongmin promised. Your soldiers will be treated according to galactic law. Your war criminals will face justice, but your species will survive and eventually regain limited self-government. This was unprecedented. In the history of the galaxy, conquerors usually enslaved or destroyed the species they defeated. No one offered to protect their enemies' civilians. Admiral Kexthul made his final decision. I surrender. All Velthari forces, lay down your weapons, the war was over. But the real shock came next. Somenhan was humanity's chief negotiator. She was a small, quiet woman who could speak 15 alien languages and had studied galactic law for 20 years. Her job was to create a peace treaty that would last forever. She met with the defeated Velthari leaders in the ruins of their capital city. Alien observers from dozens of species watched the negotiations, expecting to see the usual terms: slavery, tribute payments, the destruction of the enemy's ability to fight. Instead, Soman presented terms that made the entire galaxy gasp. The Velthari Empire will be dissolved, she announced, but the Velthari people will be given 3 worlds to live on peacefully. They will be protected by human forces until they can govern themselves again. After 50 years, if they have shown they can live peacefully, they can have more worlds. She continued. The officers responsible for the Kepler massacre will face trial for war crimes. If found guilty, they will serve prison sentences, but they will not be executed. Even war criminals deserve the chance to earn redemption. Admiral Kexthol could barely believe what he was hearing. You're offering us mercy? After everything we did? Someone's voice was firm but kind. We're offering you justice. Not revenge, not cruelty, but justice. You attacked us, so you lose the right to threaten anyone else. But your people don't deserve to suffer because their leaders made terrible choices. The peace terms were signed within a week. The Velthari Empire was officially ended, but the Velthari people would survive. A month later, the Galactic Council met on the neutral world of Nexus Prime. Representatives from every major species gathered to discuss the most important question in galactic history: what to do about humanity. President Sungjin Quan represented humanity at the meeting. He was a former soldier who had become a diplomat, and he understood both war and peace. The humans have demonstrated power beyond anything we've seen, said Ambassador Kulvex of the Zephyrian Trade Alliance. They destroyed the Velthari Empire in less than a year, but they also showed mercy to their defeated enemies. We must decide how to respond to this new galactic power. The Crystalline Collective spoke through their representative. Humans fight like apex predators, but they protect like shepherds. They are dangerous to enemies, but safe for friends. The Mechanical Republic presented their analysis. Human military technology advances at 347% the galactic average. Their tactical flexibility exceeds all known parameters. Recommendation: avoid conflict at all costs. Finally, the ancient species known as the Eldest Ones spoke. They were the oldest civilization in the galaxy, and their words carried great weight. In our long history, we have seen many species rise to power. Some conquered through strength, others through fear. The humans are the first to rise through protection. They are what we have long hoped for. A species strong enough to keep peace and wise enough to know when to use that strength. The vote was unanimous. Humanity was officially classified as a protected species, the galaxy's diplomatic term for civilizations too dangerous to threaten. But more than that, humanity was invited to become the galaxy's peacekeepers. President Sungjin stood to address the council. We never wanted to be your apex predators, he said. We wanted to be your neighbors, your friends, your trading partners. But when someone hurt our children, we showed you what humans are capable of when we're angry. He looked around the chamber at all the alien representatives. Now let us show you what we're capable of when we're at peace. We accept the responsibility of protecting peaceful species from those who would harm them. We promise to use our strength not for conquest but for protection. His final words would be remembered for generations. Humans protect their own, and now we protect everyone who doesn't make the mistake of threatening innocent lives. 6 months later, human ships patrolled the major trade routes of the galaxy. Their presence meant that pirates, raiders, and aggressive empires thought twice before attacking peaceful species. The Velthari were settling into their new homes under human protection. Many of them were discovering that life was actually better without a warlike empire, constantly demanding soldiers and taxes. Dr. Sujin Choi's memorial was built on Kepler 442b, where she and 126 others had died. The inscription was simple: they died for the dream of peace among the stars. Their sacrifice taught the galaxy that some things are worth fighting for. Captain Jinwoo Park, whose first contact had started the war, now commanded a peaceful exploration ship again. But this time, when he met new species, they already knew about humanity. They knew that humans preferred friendship but could be terrible enemies. On Earth, children learned the story of the Velthari War in school. They learned that sometimes good people had to fight to protect others. They learned that being strong meant knowing when not to use your strength. And across the galaxy, other species told the story too. They told their children about the strange species called humans, who looked soft and weak but were actually the most dangerous predators in the stars. The species who would trade with you, help you, and protect you, but who would destroy you completely if you ever threatened their young. The galaxy had found its guardians. Not conquerors or overlords, but protectors who enforced one simple rule. Innocent lives must be protected. The age of random violence and conquest was over. The age of human protection had begun.